Welcome back to the Against All Odds podcast, the only podcast where we give you the complete meaning of life.
Oh, that's good. Roll intro.
So, Mimi, I'm just going to jump right into this. I want to know, I have a list of questions for you today.
Yeah,
okay?
this podcast is going to be led by Matt over here.
Yeah, call me
Shelly.
Matt now.
Well, I feel like they're not going to know when I say Shelly.
I mean, if they
That
listen,
felt weird,
if they listen to the podcast, they should know that you call me Shelly, so you can call me
Okay,
Shelly.
thank God. It felt so unnatural.
This podcast, I definitely wrote pretty much the talking points for everything. I have a lot of questions for you.
Oh God.
You can chime in, you can change it, we can change the direction of it, but I definitely have a lot of stuff.
I have a question for you.
Okay, let's start. What's up?
Do you like the tea?
The tea's good, yeah. What is this? Apple?
Does it taste like Christmas?
No, honestly, I thought it was gonna be better, to be honest, but
What? It's cardamom, ginger, and
apple
cinnamon,
and cinnamon.
I think.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know. I've had better. Right?
I think that's good.
It's pretty good. All right, so my first question, I want to know what your biggest weakness is. I just got some questions for you.
Do you know the answer to it?
No, this is like a self-critique, so
I know.
I can't answer.
Do you know what my biggest weakness is?
I could think of some, but I could think of a lot. No, I'm just kidding.
How many weaknesses do I have?
No, what do you think your biggest weakness? The one thing that you wish you could maybe change about yourself, or were working to change?
I would say that my biggest weakness that I've always thought I had, but I think I'm getting better at, is caring what people think. I don't know if that counts as a weakness.
No,
Does that count as a weakness?
Yeah, that's a weakness.
Because I think that for a lot of my life, it's held me back.
Where you care too much what people think.
Yeah, I care too much about what people think, and it's like prevented me from doing certain things, you know?
Mm-hmm. What are some examples of that?
Well, it prevented me from starting YouTube earlier. I've wanted to do it since I was like in high school.
Really?
Because I've always watched it. Like, I've loved it. And every single time I watch a video, I'm like, I could do that, you know? And I never did because I always thought people would judge me. So that's one thing. Another thing is sports. That's like a huge thing. That's like the first thing that comes to my mind, really. Like, I didn't, when I was younger, I played like every sport. I played, you know, with all my friends. And that was kind of when you're younger and you didn't really judge each other. But then as we got older and more mature and people got more competitive and more judgmental, I would say too, I just suddenly like got this like huge fear of just not being great. And if like I'm not perfect at something, it really bothers me. So it's almost like I just don't even go for it if I'm not confident that I will be good at it, you know?
Yeah, I could see
Maybe
that.
That's two weaknesses.
I even noticed that when we first, even up to now, like when we were dating and all this stuff throughout dating, when I'd go out to the field to train and the ball would roll over to you and you were like 10 feet away, I'm like, yeah, pass it back. And you're like, no, I don't want to. Like, I was like, just kick the ball back.
Yeah,
like,
it's a huge thing. That's
crazy,
a huge thing. Like, I don't even want to do things in front of people if I'm not confident about it.
I think you've gotten better at it though, even just through what we've been dating through.
Well,
like you started a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've learned that if you make a bigger deal out of it, then it's going to become a bigger deal. So even now, like when the ball rolls over to me when I'm just filming you and it's only me and you, like it terrifies me. And I don't even want to kick it back to you, but I'm like, just do it before like you can even think about
Before
it.
I hype it up.
Yeah, before you hype it up. Because once you start hyping it up, I'm like, no, like I'll pick it up and just throw it to you.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
So I have to just like do it before I overthink it.
Mm-hmm. I think something that like, I mean, I do care what people think. It's impossible not to. I think nobody can say I don't care what anybody thinks because I care what people think. But I think like something that I've been good at is kind of laughing at myself all the time. Like where if someone makes fun of me for doing something, whether it was starting YouTube, whether it was getting into the gym when I was 100 pounds and hopping on the bench press, and people making fun of me for like being like lifting 2.5. I had those 2.5 pound plates on each side with the bar.
Oh my God.
Like I progressed up. I just laughed at myself.
Yeah.
Like, and I thought like, I think that is huge to do with anything, whatever you just laugh at yourself. Be like, yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. See, I'm not good at that.
Yeah. But I think that's what I would say. But I really think nobody doesn't care. And I think if you really don't care what anybody thinks, I almost think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, no, but I just think that for me at least, I think I just got like cursed with like two weaknesses that make it worse because I'm a perfectionist and I'm not satisfied with anything below being perfect. And then I also care what people think a lot. So it's really, really hard for me to like get out of my comfort zone and like go for things.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Like it's really hard.
But then once you do, and like once you are creating something, then like it's awesome. Like the content and stuff that you make is great. And
I just can't overthink it.
Yeah. And like that's like one thing I would really even say why I was so confident when you told me like, yo, look, I want to quit my job. I knew like I had so much belief. I was like, there's no doubt in my mind that you weren't going to make it work and it wasn't going to work out because like I had seen how much you had worked, how much of a perfectionist you were, and how much like it wasn't perfectionist that always in a bad way, where it was really like you were like, look, I want this to be perfect, so I'm actually going to put in the hours. Because I think there's two types of people. It's like, I'm a perfectionist, I'm not going to do it, because I can't do it.
Yeah,
I can't make it perfect. And then there's like you literally work for hours and hours to make it perfect. But I think that was something that just saw like the hard work is why I really was like, yeah, no, quit. I believe.
Yeah, because you didn't even doubt me. Because I feel like if it was anything else or anybody else, you probably would have been like, are you sure you want to do that?
Yeah,
like, do you think you're prepared for that? And you didn't even say that at all. You were just like,
because I don't think that quitting 9 to 5 is right for everybody, and I don't think it's right for like at the right time. Like even for you, if you would have told me that like you didn't want to get a 9 to 5 job or enter into the work place when you had no Instagram, no YouTube, and you weren't doing anything, I'd be like, I think you probably should. Like, but like seeing, but seeing what you've been doing and your work ethic and like everything else, I was like, yeah, no, it's gonna work out. And now, because you would go 9 to 5, you'd spend 2 hours in the morning working out, planning your day, eating right, doing all this stuff, setting up your lunch, and then your entire evening was literally just working more on your social media outlets. And your off days, you went to school for interior design extra. And you were creating all your own content and stuff and mood boards and everything for your Instagram and YouTube channel. So I was like, yeah, imagine what she would do if she literally has all day to work on that.
Yeah.
Versus I feel like a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to quit my 9 to 5 job, but it's all talk and they don't actually have anything. And they have ideas, but they wouldn't actually work and do it and work every single day consistently of actually creating stuff.
I think it helped that I had already started.
Yeah. And so that was like why 100% I was like, no, go for it. Like I didn't, like not even for a split second.
What do you think my weakness is?
Your weakness? I would say that that what you said was like I could see as a weakness where you maybe care what people think, and I think like even just the little things of just kick me back the ball. Like I really don't care if you're bad at soccer. Like, you think I'm gonna break up with you if you're bad at soccer?
Probably.
No, it's like but just stuff like that. But I think also
I thought you were gonna say time management.
I don't want to say you're bad at time management.
I'm getting good at it. I'm getting better.
I think you're good at time management. I mean, you are late for stuff, but I think
sometimes I'm getting better.
I think what you make, like I have a theory that, nobody's late by nature. Nobody's like has a late gene. Nobody is like, oh, I can't control, I'm just late. I'm a late person. It's because you don't prioritize what it is.
Yeah.
It's the same like thing when someone says, oh, I don't have time to work out. Everybody's got the same amount of time.
You just don't prioritize.
I remember going into classes in college and I would have the full class load as an applied mathematician at UC Davis. And I had my full 20 hours a week of soccer training, workouts, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Then additionally, I would train by myself 2-3 times a week, additional workouts or training sessions. And then I would work out in the gym additionally 4 or 5 times. And then I would still like go out with friends, on the weekends, have Chipotle, go do like fun stuff.
He really misses Chipotle.
I miss Chipotle. We'll talk about that later.
We've been talking about it a lot.
But like I would do all that, and then I'd go to class, and then I'd see this kid who only, nope. And I had a part-time job as a ref, reffing intramural games, and I did coaching camps through UC Davis.
Yeah.
So I had all this stuff, and I, always made it a priority to do all this stuff. And I remember sitting in class. And I had already woken up at 5:30 in the morning to go to my 6 a.m. conditioning. And then I did the 6 a.m. conditioning with the team. And then we had the 2.5 hour like training session. After the training session, we had our team weights. And then I got breakfast real quick, a breakfast burrito, hopped into class. I was sitting in class and this kid next to me is like, man, I'm so tired. And I was like, yeah? I'm like, what happened? Like, and he's like, I was like, I just woke up, man. I'm like, it was like at 10 in the morning. I'm like, bro, I've been up for 4 hours now and I've already done 3 different workouts. And so I was like, it's not, you got to prioritize. Everybody's got the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're bad or, late. I just really think that you have to prioritize what's important. And so I don't think you're bad with time management. You just have to know your priorities because you're never late for stuff that you really think is a priority. Mm-hmm. So I would say, I think for your weakness, like going back to that, like I do like think that caring what people think, but only in certain things, because you don't care what people think in other things, you know?
Yeah.
Because I care about more of what people think about me in areas, and you're like, just Shelly, what are you doing? Like, you know?
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, I think that would be it, honestly.
I feel
More
like,
so than time management.
I feel like this is like that documentary we watched yesterday about that murder, the killer.
The Iceman, yeah.
Iceman.
Uh-huh.
We watched a documentary on this guy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he was like a killer for like a paid, what do you call it? Like a paid assassin.
Yeah. Hitman.
Yeah, hitman for the mafia. And he just would kill like over 200 people, and he just didn't care. But it was interesting because a psychologist was the one that interviewed him and did this documentary, and then at the end he got to ask the psychologist questions. And I feel like this is kind of like this, like,
what do you think my biggest weakness is?
ooh,
This is
so many, it's hard to choose.
this, I won't, you can let it rip. I can take it.
Biggest weakness.
My biggest weakness, yeah.
Biggest weakness.
Yeah. You know, do I not have any?
Is it the same thing as flaw, or is it different than a flaw?
No, yeah, that counts.
It's hard for me to differentiate. You can go first.
I like, you know, in self-critique, and this is something that my mom kind of always would critique about me, because like, I mean, she loves me obviously, but she definitely she likes to not criticize, but she tells me what I need to work on all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's definitely like, I need to be the center of attention all the time.
See, that's what I was gonna say, but I didn't know if that counted as a weakness.
I would say it's if you look at it in terms of daily life, I think it is, because I just don't care about other people sometimes.
Well, because I was gonna say that, because I feel like a lot of times, like, it's kind of like about you.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
and
but not like I don't want to say that in a bad way, but because it helps you. That's the thing. Like, it's not a weakness to you. It's a weakness maybe to the people around you, or like to your relationships.
In terms of being a person, I think it's a weakness. But in terms of obviously YouTube, it helps because I want to be the center of attention. I love being there. I love being the face. I love attention. And it's not just about like I'm attention like whore, but I really respect what attention can do for you in terms of business, in terms of your career, everything. Soccer, getting scouted, it's all based off attention. So I really respect, and I do love attention. So I think that does help me in soccer. I think it does help me in YouTube. But in terms of being a person, like, I know, like, I even can feel it. Sometimes when I sit down with somebody, I even in my head, I'm thinking, okay, we've talked about you for 10 minutes now. We need to alter the conversation to something else. Ask them a question. And that's like it's a conscious effort for me.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm really working on. And I think I've improved it a lot. But I definitely think my biggest weakness is I'm a little egocentric.
Yeah, no, that's why I asked you. I'm like, is a flaw the same thing as a weakness? Because I think I think people would categorize that more as a flaw than a weakness. Mm-hmm. Because it's more like I feel like it's like your strength of like yourself and how confident you are. I feel like that just overpowers how much you care about other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it literally is in terms of different things.
It's weird though, because like there are some people who you see like on reality TV shows and like in movies and stuff who like to be the center of attention, and normally they're like the antagonist, like they're like not the good character, and you don't like them, and they make you not like them. You know, like that's how they're portrayed. And I wouldn't ever like look at you like that. Like I've never looked at you and been like, oh, he just wants to be the center of attention. Yeah, it's more like you are striving to be the best, and I feel like that's not always a bad thing. You know, like that's how a lot of athletes got to where they are. It's not because they just want to stand up in the middle of the room and like not let anybody else talk. It's not like that. It's just that they want people to look at them. Yeah. And like it's almost like, okay, if you guys have ever seen the movie Madagascar, I always compare you to Alex the lion. Yeah. Because it's like everybody still loves him, he's bubbly, but like he wants to be the one on the stage like showing off and flexing his muscles, and like that's totally you, and he's still goofy at the same time, and people love him. Mm-hmm. You know, like they love that guy that like wants to be in the center. It's not like a bad thing, you know?
I think too, like, and that is actually, you know, I always say if you want to be a pro, to find the really intrinsic motivators of why you want to do it. Not just be like, I want to be a pro, but like why? Like, and then break it down more and more and more. Yeah. And so like for me, I always wanted to be a pro. And I'm like, why? Well, I think there's nothing better in the world than obviously doing what you love, getting paid to do what you absolutely love every single day. But another huge intrinsic motivator is that I want to have thousands and thousands of people looking at me, watching me play. Like, I want to have that feeling of success. Like, this guy's successful. I want to be that attention. And it's like, it sounds really bad, but if it motivates me to work harder, if it motivates me,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like you use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
Like, it's not necessarily a weakness to you all the time. You
Yeah.
know, maybe it is in like little conversations, like when you go to coffee with people, maybe you're talking more about your life than theirs, but it is true. Like, your life is more exciting. It is more fun to talk about. So a lot of times, like, I just think that you just have to be aware that maybe talking about someone else isn't going to be as exciting, but you still have to do it.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I try to work on it so much, and I really think I have improved a ton since like even my senior year of high school. Like, it's so much I feel like I've improved. But I do definitely, because I've noticed myself where it's like, okay, let's, you know, even in my head, I'm like, okay, ask a question about them, how their business or how their job's going. And as soon as they start talking, I can feel myself zoning out, because it's like I don't, and it sounds so bad, and I hope you guys don't think like I'm a jerk.
Yeah, because
like,
really not about.
But like it's hard to explain without.
Yeah, but the thing
like
is, though, like people like are like feeding that. Like, people like are
Yeah, I know what you mean.
making that worse, because like there has been so many times where you and I are like talking to someone that we haven't seen in a long time, or that you're meeting or something, and the first question is always like, well, what do you do? And that person will say like, oh, you know, I'm like a financial analyst, or I do insurance or something, and then they ask you like, oh, what do you do? And then you say, I'm a professional soccer player, and then I'll say I'm an interior designer or whatever it is, and then they instantly are like, oh wow, like that's way more interesting, let's talk about that.
And
you know, like they don't even,
I get all excited.
yeah, and you love it because you love talking about
Yeah.
it, because it's a truly exciting life, and like all these people, they want to talk about your life because it's way more rare. You know what I mean? Like, they don't get to talk about it that much. So then I think that they're not helping your situation where you're like trying to learn about them, because I've heard so many, like, do you agree? Like, I always hear people say that. They're like, oh, like, screw my job. Like, let's talk about you. And
Yeah.
it's like,
No, it has
I'm like, no,
happened.
you're not helping him at all.
I know.
Like, we're trying to work on this.
This is something. This is my New Year's resolution, is to ask more questions about other people, and you're not helping me.
But I think that's really good that at least you're aware of that. You know?
It is active. Like, I'm really trying to improve that. But yeah, I think that's my biggest weakness. 100% is that.
Yeah, and the thing too, I'm realizing that has probably stemmed from you just being obsessed. Like, you're truly obsessed with what you're doing. And like, that's what's always on your mind. So it's not that you just don't care about other people. It's just that's what's on your mind all the time, is what you're working on, like what you're about to accomplish, or what you're working towards, like, you know, like what you're currently doing. Like, that's just always like at the forefront of your mind, you know? Because like, I'll even be talking to you, like asking you a question about something, and you'll just be like, you'll just like say something random about like soccer, or like you're become elite or something. I'm like, hello, like, but that's just always what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Because you're truly obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It just goes hand in hand with your obsession, I think. You just get really easily obsessed.
Yeah, and I definitely, even with normal questions, you're like, hey, what time do we have to leave today? And I'm like, don't even look up.
Yeah, I'm like, hello. That's interesting though. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. My mom is every single time. Every New Year's, like every single year, I think since I was a little kid, 4 or 5, when you do the New Year's resolutions.
Did she make it for you?
I would, even as a 5, 6-year-old, I would be like, I don't want to work on anything. I'm perfect. Like, say stupid stuff like that. And my mom would always be like, Matthew, how about your vanity? Or maybe like your ego not being, you, the world doesn't revolve around you. Yeah, humbleness. Like, maybe take a step back and ask more people, care about what other people have to say. When Michael starts talking at the dinner table, don't automatically try to turn the attention back onto you. Michael's my brother, by the way.
But it's also too, like, I'm just trying to defend you, I feel like. But it's also too,
you're not helping me either.
I always do this. So a person messaged him on Instagram. I don't know if they're going to watch this, but someone messaged him or tagged him in a story, just some random kid, and they were like tagging their top 3 favorite YouTubers or something, and then Shelly got third place, and actually like a 3rd place trophy, and I was like defending it. I'm like, well, it's okay, like he probably doesn't know you as a person, like
Mimi, it's okay. Chill.
Yeah, but I feel like it also goes hand in hand with the fact that with certain people, I don't think you're like this all the time, but you are very what's the opposite of being extroverted.
Yeah.
You're really extroverted, and I think there's some people in your family that are less. And so
Michael.
so I feel like, because I'm like that too a lot of times, like you just instantly kind of feel like you're overshadowing people, or that you're being the center of attention, but it's just like, it's just your personality. Like there's some people that just aren't as loud or don't talk as much.
Yeah.
You know? Because
Yeah.
I find myself talking a lot sometimes, and I'm like, wait a minute, like they haven't talked in a little while. Like I should probably shut up.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a combination of things.
Definitely. Well, the next topic, somebody actually, this is a suggestion from one of the listeners. So again, keep on giving us suggestions. Any talking points you want us to bring
We should write
up.
their names down so we can give them credit for their
It's a lot of work.
suggestions. Other people. Let's think of other people here, shall we?
Yeah, well, whoever it was, thank you for submitting this. But this is about how to balance school and soccer, especially in college. But obviously, this applies to high school.
I'll take this
as well.
one if you want me to.
Well, I mean, you balance school and other stuff.
I don't balance soccer.
But basically, I think one of the biggest things is like it's all about. I think there's a couple things on how to the best ways to balance it. I'll give you 3 right off the bat. Number 1 is you have to realize that it's hard. I mean, in college, there's no way around it. If you want to be good in soccer and have a D1 scholarship and play and perform, and you also want to get good grades and not get kicked out of the school and, you know, set yourself up a backup plan, it's going to be a lot of work because both those require 20, 30 hours a week. Mm-hmm. So you need to understand that you have to put in, 40, 60 hours a week of work. So it's going to be more than a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of people don't understand. They think it's some secret and that they will be able to still play 5 hours of video games or watch TV all Sunday. And you got to realize it's like, no, if you want that, you got to realize you got to sacrifice all that free time that you want, because every student athlete has very little free time, every single one. So right off the bat, you have to realize it's going to be a grind and it's hard. So there's no easy way around it. So I'm not, these tips, even this first tip is not like, oh, this is how to make it easier. The first tip is it's freaking hard. And you have to understand that. Number 2, for sure, is I'm a big believer in like the 80-20 principle. And actually, I have this as a talking point in today's video, which I'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. But the 80-20 principle, it's like 80% of your success or your results or anything, your business, comes from just 20% of your efforts. So realize that if you have a math test, and this was something huge and for me, for a math test.
You've been so good at this.
Is like the math test, so you know, they'll talk about in the final, the teacher will even say half the test is going to be on chapter 13, but the whole test is going to cover chapters 1 through 13. I would spend all my time on chapter 13 memorizing that.
Yeah, you've been like, that's back to the studying thing. Like, you're so good at knowing what to spend your time on, because I would be the person that would go, okay, I'm gonna start with chapter 1 and then go to 13, like, so I can learn everything.
Yeah, no, I'm like,
and then you're like, no, I'm gonna actually learn what I need to learn.
Give me the meat. I don't care about 1 through 12. Just give me the meat. And then after that, I spend 8 hours on that. I'll spend 3 or 4 covering 1 through 12. And so it's like that. And the same with soccer. Is it going to be worth going to this gym session today that you want to get on yourself and having like an arm day, you know, sometimes? And I'm not going to say I never have arm day. I have a fun arm day. But like, what's going to help you more besides the single arm cable tricep extension is to hit the big compound workouts, the big compound movements, the high intensity interval training that's really going to help you so much. And you can crush it. You know, if you go to the gym and you do 20 minutes of high intensity interval sprints on the treadmill, and then you do 5 sets of really good heavy squats, and then you do some really good jumping plyometric box jumps and some other stuff for legs, that's gonna be so much better than you trying to just do single leg like calf raises and spending all this time.
See, it's all about, then you're saying, it's just the efficiency of your time. You have to make your time more efficient.
Well, that's the 80-20 principle. Because then you focus on the 20% of exercises, the 20% of your studies, the 20% of everything that's going to give you 80% of your results.
Yeah, you just have to make it count.
Yeah. And so it's the same. Like, that's how I do school and soccer. And then I'd say the last tip is always be working to get ahead. Like, never procrastinate. Like, my whole idea was like, I'm going to start, you know, with the hardest thing first. My workouts, get all of my workouts, the training, everything done in the morning. Then I go to my classes. Then I would go home and get ahead on my paper, you know, 3 or 4 hours. And so I'd be trying to go as fast as possible, get as much as work done, so that I would have 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. free. And I would just work. And so I'm getting everything out of my day. So I have those last 2 hours to enjoy. And I feel like so many people start enjoying time early in the morning or in the middle of the day.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah, it's like, get it all, because I can't even relax if I know I still have a paper due. I have to be like, I'm going to finish this paper so that even tomorrow I can relax.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, in college, I actually did better, and in life, actually, like I actually do better, and I'm more efficient, and I think I am more productive when I have more on my plate.
Yeah,
because like sure. If you like let yourself get lazy, like there were some semesters in college where I only took like 3 classes, and I found myself slacking off so much because you don't really have much to do all day. Like your homework's way more spaced out. You only have like 1 class, 2 classes a day.
Yeah.
You can work out when you want. And I found that I did worse in those classes than like my last semester because I graduated early. So I wanted to cram it all in. I took like 5 4-unit classes. So 5 huge classes, or 6 or something, like insane. Like I took like 21 units or something. I didn't have 1 spare minute of my life that whole quarter. And I got the best GPA I'd ever gotten, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like way better than when I had like all the time in the world. So a lot of times like you can use it to your advantage, you know, like just.
There's a quote that says, if you want to get something done, give it to a busy man. Yeah. He'll get it done.
He'll get it done. Because if you have it's like if you have too much time on your hands.
Yeah.
Like you get lazy.
Because you're like, you literally, the mindset goes, I have 5 free days until this is due. Yeah. So I guess you wait till day 5.
Yeah.
Versus if you're busy, you're like, look, I know I have only 30 minutes tonight to work on something because tomorrow I'm completely booked. The next day is a little bit free. I maybe could do 2 hours. So then you're going to crunch it in there.
Yeah.
And that's the same for finals week. We would get, finals week, you get the week off of training with team training, team workouts, everything. So you can focus on finals. But I would do an individual or team training, like a small group training session every single day of the week. And I would also work out, do a gym workout 4 or 5 days of the week during finals week. And all my teammates would be like, you're working out, you're doing all this like during finals week? I'm like, yeah, because if I do this, when I don't work out, when I don't have these things in my day, I literally do the same thing. I sleep in. I'm like, I got all day to study.
You get lazy.
Versus if I do these workouts, do this stuff, I realize my day's starting to cut short, and I'm more focused on my time.
Yeah,
so
I'm exactly the same way.
That I think is the main tips. I'm sorry if this bell in the background, you guys hear this on the podcast.
I don't know if you can hear that. They're doing
some stupid. It's just ringing a bell out there.
It's like a combination of a jackhammer and a church bell.
It's just some
what
idiot.
What is it?
He's just having fun. They put
digging the bell.
They put just some stupid guy on the bell out there.
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, just ring it. Just have fun today. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, so for tips on how to be successful in balancing soccer and school, that's it. Realize it's hard.
Use every moment wisely.
Yeah, realize it's going to be hard, and that you're going to have very little free time. Focus on the stuff that's going to give you the most results, the best results with the most little effort, the 80-20 principle. And then be busy. Always be working on something. Try to like set yourself up. Delayed gratification that you want to have your rest day tomorrow. So get everything done today. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. The next thing, another question. Then we'll move on to more questions I have for you, Mimi. But the next question here that we got just a suggestion was how to build connections in soccer / business. Now, yeah, good question. So for soccer, building connections, I see this kind of a lot. Like I definitely have seen people like really try to network as if it was I think it's different doing it in soccer than in business. Because to build connections in soccer, it's not going to like these, LinkedIn events and like shaking hands and be like, hi, my name is Matt, I'm a soccer player, blah, blah, blah. And you do want to meet people, but it's more about your performance on the field, playing for new teams, doing that and like showing that you're reputable, that you are a good player.
Because you always say too, like with connections, they're only going to recommend you to people if they believe in you and think you're a good player.
Yeah.
So you have to just show that you're really good, and then people will want to be connected to you.
Yeah, because I have people and players all the time talk to me and connect with me. I'm doing air quotes right now.
Yeah.
They connect with me by like talking, like, look, I'm a player, blah, blah, blah. And they just like, so they can get, know me. But if I don't believe in them as a player, I'm never going to recommend them to a coach to bring them in. Mm-hmm. I would definitely recommend a player that I've played with and I know is a good player who I built a connection with there. And it was all stemmed off of him that he's a good player. So I think that the number one thing is to just perform on the field. And that sounds so obvious, but so many people don't understand that. If you perform on the field every single day, you work hard in training every single day, people respect you and they know that you're a pro, then those teammates are going to remember you when you're, it's like, I got my contract at OC Blues because I was a practice player at Sacramento Republic. And I came to Sacramento Republic every single day and did the dirty work of a practice player. hopped in the drills and just got beat one-on-one every single time to
got
guard the
blamed
forwards.
for everything.
Got blamed, did the dirty work. But I showed up every single day with a good attitude, worked hard, and improved. And then Ivan Mirkovic, when he moved to the OC Blues, he realized that they needed a right back. I was actually the second one he recommended. The first
I
one,
didn't know that.
Yeah, the first one was...
Who was the first one?
I think it was in Ireland or something. He already had a contract. But he goes, you know what? I do know another right back, great player, really good work ethic, blah, 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 from Sacramento. That connection, it wasn't from me, taking Ivan out to coffee and schmoozing. It was that I was his teammate and I showed up and did the work and he respected that. And so he brought me in for a trial. Yeah,
that's so true. It's so different than other businesses, I think.
And business, I feel like, is a lot of like, okay, go to the meet and greets, shake hands, kiss the babies, blah, 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 schmooze. In soccer, it's do the dirty work, be respected. And I do think, obviously, in business, you want to be respected too. But
yeah. This is just a small tip. It's not really like a big thing, but my brother actually taught this to me. He said that you should start a notes in your phone where you write down all of your connections. Like every time you meet somebody, write down where you met them or how you know them and like their name. And because he is in the actual business world, so it's different than athletics. But I started doing that. And it's actually like been really interesting and it's helped because a lot of times, like you said, like if you're not actually focused on them, like you're not really going to pay attention or remember their name or really care. But if you just start a notes in your phone, you can even do this with soccer and like write down like the teams or whatever it is or like type of players and just start writing down people's names. Then like when you need a connection, you can go through that and be like, oh yeah, like I met this goalie here, like whatever.
That'd be really good for coaches. And, because I've done that before. Had an Excel spreadsheet of the coaches' names, all of the USL, their emails, and like their contact information, so I could contact them and send them out my highlight videos, send them out my CV, stuff like that. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I found it really helped, and I started doing that. The first time I started was when I went to my first like professional like event, like design event, and it was at this really nice restaurant downtown. And I went with a few people from my company because we got invited, and you go around and you meet like all these people there, you're drinking, like you're having fun. And I feel like a lot of times, probably at the end of the day, people are going to go home and fall asleep and then wake up and not remember, like it's not going to stay with them who they met. So like I wrote down under the table, like on my phone, I'm like, hey, here's this guy from this company, this is his position or whatever. Yeah. So if I ever wanted to, talk to them or get into that company, I could. Yeah. Otherwise I would not have remembered.
Yeah. And I also think going back to soccer for building connections, realize that the more teams, the more open combines, the more trials, the more everything that you do, the more people you meet, the more teams you play with, there's obviously more connections. If you're like, I don't have any connections, but you've played for your local club for the last 15 years of your entire youth career, and now you're in the senior team and you don't have any connections, well, it's like, you are stuck in a bubble, I'm a big believer. It's like, start, as soon as you feel like you progress every year or every couple of years, you should feel like you've progressed from this team, you've improved, and now you want ready for the next level. Go over and play for this team and, guest appear for them, go and talk and try to do this open combine and just meet, because I've met so many little people and so many things where it's just great connections from just always be doing and playing with different teams.
Yeah. You've been everywhere.
Yeah. And so now
it's a small world too. It's like a weirdly small world.
Yeah. And like, just like even something that, is crazy. Like, one thing I remember, I went to a combine over in Florida, signed up for it, flew out there, did a combine. Nothing came out of the combine. I was like, wasted time, whatever, good experience, I guess. Then a couple months later, I went over to Iceland for a trial. This is back in 2015. Went over to Iceland for a trial. One of the other foreigners that came in, and he was staying in the same, they put us up in a hostel, the same hostel as me. He came in, all of a sudden, they're like, oh yeah, well, you'll have another foreigner staying with you. He's from the US as well. It's like, all right, cool. Took my nap. I was like hanging out in the hostel on my phone or whatever. Door opens, this guy comes in. It's like, bro, like we were on the same exact team over in the combine.
At the combine.
And so it's like,
so weird.
And so it's like, we're like, oh wow. And then we started talking. His name was Jay. I'm like, bro, like it was just such a small world, But it just goes like, that would have been complete stranger if I didn't do this open combine. So always be, doing all this. You never know what person you're going to meet is going to lead you to that first pro contract.
Yeah. I feel like I am not very good at making connections just because like I am an extrovert, but when it comes to certain things, like I am more introverted and like I think socially, like I'm pretty introverted when it comes to like the amount of people that I choose to have in my life.
Uh-huh.
Because my brother's the totally opposite. And he always tells me, he's like, Mimi, you got to make more connections. Like, you got to get out there. Because I'm the kind of person who, like, will just go to work, come home, go to the gym, work on my stuff. Like, I don't really care to go out to dinner with my coworkers. You know, like, stuff like that doesn't really interest me, because I don't know if it's, like, a bad thing, but I am more concentrated on myself and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then he's the type of guy who's like, no, like, you should go to dinner. You should go to coffee. Like, get to know them, like, blah, blah, blah. And so, I don't know. I don't think I'm very good at that, but.
Yeah. I could see that. But I mean, at the same time, you get put in any social situation and you flourish. Yeah. You just instantly, you just start talking, and it's like you're best friends with them.
But it's like what you said with the conversation and like asking other people questions. For me, making friends and making connections like that is a conscious effort. Yeah. You know, some people just know millions of people, and that's just who they are. You're like, oh, bro, like, you want to go here? I'll call someone for you. You know, I'm total opposite. I'm like, I need to work at it and actually spend time to keep those people in my life and to make those friends or make those connections or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's move on to more questions for you, Mimi, that I chose.
Okay.
I have two for you. Two more questions for you. Okay.
Do you know the answers?
No, literally, these are questions I want to know too.
Oh gosh.
Number one, what do you think has been the worst phase in your entire life? The lowest low you've ever experienced?
Sophomore year of college.
Sophomore year of college?
100%.
Explain.
I don't know.
Because we just started dating then, so that was it.
Yeah, it was terrible. No, it was. It was almost like my psychology teacher in high school told me one time. I don't know if this is real or not. But he said that your brain will like purposely block out certain periods of your life just to protect you so that you don't remember them. And I feel like my sophomore year
is over dramatize.
I'm not. I literally like, I just feel like it was almost more like I was so miserable that I like removed myself from the situation. Like I feel like I just wasn't present, which is kind of weird. And I feel like that is true. Like the example he was using in high school when he was explaining this to us in our class was that's how he thinks of middle school. He's like, I can't tell you one thing about middle school because it's usually people's like awkward years.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't remember middle school because like they don't want to because it was so awkward, you know? You didn't have that problem. I think we've talked about that before.
I liked middle school.
Yeah, I don't remember anything.
I was awkward. I still am awkward.
Yeah, but I literally don't remember anything about middle school.
Yeah.
Like it's just blacked out. And I feel like my sophomore year is kind of like that. I just did not have a good living situation with my roommates. Mm-hmm. And it affected all areas of my life. Like I just wasn't happy.
The living situation's a big area of your life.
It is. And it just like affected me. Like I remember in class, it made me really anxious. And like in class, I'd be taking like a quiz. I remember this specifically. I was taking a quiz and it was like a weekly quiz. So it wasn't like a big deal at all. And I shouldn't have been nervous. It was a math class. I was good at it. And I was like shaking the whole time just because like I couldn't get it out of my mind, like the situation that was going on at home, that it affected me in school, and it affected me like, and it was almost like it put me in like a shell. Like I felt more like a hermit my sophomore year of college than I did ever in my life. Cause I'm not a hermit. Like I'm not antisocial, but like, I feel like when things go bad, like I turn antisocial, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, instead of, you know, going out with friends or like going out with the people that I do like in my life, like I just chose to just like
turn inwards.
Yeah, I just turned inwards, and I think I don't do good when I'm like that.
Yeah. I remember that time, just like always, like you venting to me about like stuff and about like anxiety during that time as well.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I got a crazy one.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, because it wasn't at the totally beginning. That was after like a year. But yeah, that was just. Some people have really great college experiences. Like Shelly loved his. He had a great time.
Loved college.
He was like the man, and I could not get out of there faster. Mm-hmm. Like at all. Like I graduated early, and it was still not early enough. Like at all.
I'm sorry that you had to experience that because like I did have a really good group of guys around me. A really good team. I love my living situation.
That can change everything because we didn't have like the best town. Like we weren't living in the best place. There wasn't really much around. There was like only one road to get out of there. Like, you're literally stuck in this little town in the middle of farm country.
Yeah.
You know? And
in Northern California.
Yeah, and the thing is like, humans, I feel like, can make any situation fun if they have the right people. Like, I was even watching...
And vice versa. They can make any great situation terrible.
Exactly. Like, I could have been in, like, you know, a great university. I could have been at, like, Harvard. Like, I could have been at Stanford. But if I wouldn't have had the right people, I would have hated it, you know? And, like, with the school that we went to, and I don't want to, like, talk shit on it because it's a great school. Yeah. And if you're going there, like, don't...
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. No, it's a good school, but there are some people who had such a good time there, and I just feel like my social life, because it was not great, like, that just overshadowed everything. Because you were like, I don't care, I could be in Davis for 10 years if I have the right people and I have my friends and my soccer team. And
because the main two things in my life, it was soccer and it was friends.
Yeah,
and,
so it didn't matter to you that there was only one grocery store, you know, like that didn't matter
because, like,
to you.
I had my team. I love from freshman year to my senior year. I loved that team. Every single guy seemed like it was a great guy on the team. And then my living situation from freshman year was with one of my best friends of all time.
Yeah, Matt and then he stuck with you. Like, you guys stuck together.
And then, and then every year, I mean, even sophomore year, like, there's some conflicts in our house sometimes, but, like, still, I loved it. Like, looking back on it, it's all great. And then junior and senior year, we lived with the same group of 6 guys in this house. And to this day, those 6 guys are still, like, my best friends of all time. So, I had a good situation.
That's why I was always jealous of people who played sports and who had teams, because like, I wanted to be on a team, like, not just even to play, but just to be with those people, because it's like, it's a different type of friendship, it's a different type of bond, because you're going through everything together.
You go through that preseason where you're in Davis by yourself and no other students here for a month straight, and you're doing double days in 100-degree heat every single day, and you're, as a freshman, you're going through the freshman rituals and the freshman initiations, and you're going through, like, just honestly hell.
Do you know what that reminds me of? My mom has 2 rabbits. Oh, God. And
how does this?
No, this actually, like, relates exactly. But rabbits are, like, known to be really, really hard to mix. You can't just, like, buy another one and bring it home. You have to slowly integrate them together. And we had both of them for, like, a month. We had to keep them in separate cages with separate water, with separate, like, food. Otherwise, they would have, like, killed each other. And the only way that you can get these rabbits to be friends and to like each other is to put them in, like, a mutual, like, horrible situation where they're together but they're miserable, because then they bond together. And it's exactly like what you're saying. Like, we literally, our family friend had to put them in a trunk of a car. Like, this sounds like animal abuse, but if you read any, like, book about how to put bunnies together, this is what you do.
Sure.
I swear. But you put them in a trunk, and then she sprayed them with a water bottle. Wow. So they're getting wet and they're miserable, and then you drive around and they're just stuck together, wet, in a car, like, terrified. And then afterwards, like, they, to this day, it's been like a couple years now, like, they won't stop, like cuddling. Like, they love each other.
That's interesting. That's weird.
Like you and Wheezy. No, but it's true. When you go through like horrible situations with people, it brings you so close.
Yeah, and preseason wasn't horrible. It was so much fun.
Well, yeah,
like,
but
it
I'm
was
just
horrible
saying, like,
in the terms of workload.
Well, yeah, and, like, even, like, hard trainings when it was 118 degrees. Like, you guys are dying together. Like, you're going through that. True, yeah.
All right, last question for you, Mimi. Then we'll end it there. I want to know, we've talked about some bad periods of your life. I want to know now, what's your all-time biggest accomplishment?
All-time biggest accomplishment.
Yeah. What are you most proud about in your entire life?
I think saying graduating from college is cheesy, and I don't think it's, like, that big of an accomplishment for me, because I feel like I was just on track. Like, it was just gonna happen. Yeah. But I think graduating early was a big one for me, and, you know, my mom and my parents would, like, tell everyone, you know, like, she graduated early, and it just felt good, because it wasn't just, like, I graduated early, which was a big deal, and I thought that was a big accomplishment. But I think that, I think we've talked about this before, but, like, me and you, our accomplishments are kind of on different levels, because, like, yours would be, like, signing a pro contract, and, like, I don't have, like, a big thing like that. Mine are more, like, little accomplishments.
Yeah, that build up.
That build up. And so I think graduating early would be one thing. I think, honestly, just, like, choosing my field and choosing the direction I wanted to go in was like a huge one for me, and like just pursuing it, because for my whole life I knew I liked design and I liked being creative and I liked art and everything, but I never did it. I never ever, until like basically when I graduated, I never committed to it. So I think just committing to that and just going for it, like full force, going to school, like getting a job, like everything, like I think that was a big accomplishment, because I just like went for it. And people even told me like, oh, like, don't you want to get like a stable job and, you know, do something in econ? I'm like, no, like I'm going to do it. Like I can do it. And so that was a big thing. Just like committing was a big accomplishment. And also, I don't know if quitting counts, but like quitting was a big accomplishment for me, because I felt like I got to a place in my life where I knew exactly what I had to do. And I was so scared about it, like terrified, and I did it. And I felt so accomplished. Like after I quit, I feel like most people be like kind of stressed out, but I was like, I wanted to throw a party because I was so proud of myself, you know? I was like, I felt like it was more like a milestone than anything.
If I were to go and say like what I would be most proud of that you've accomplished, I would definitely say you choosing and doing the stuff, everything is like choosing and doing the stuff that you really, really want to do. And I think all three of what you just listed
because that wasn't easy for me at all.
Because like, you know, you really wanted to graduate early, and then so you worked to do it. You at first, you know, and deep down you always knew you wanted to be an interior designer, but you were going to go into that traditional route of get a safe, stable job that pays well in the city somewhere in some business world or financial sector, which is, you know, can be a passion for everybody. And I think you still do have that as a passion, but it's not your main passion.
Yeah.
And for you to decide and know that and choose willingly that you were to actually follow your passion and have the patience of like, I'm going to build something, I think is very cool. And then the last thing even with that is like, okay, now you know that you're in the right field, but you're not, that what your setup is not right. You want to be building your own thing, working for yourself, and then to choose that again. So all three things, it's like really following what your deep down gut is telling you to do. And that's what I think is like your biggest accomplishment if I were you.
Yeah, well, see, it's funny because like one of my biggest accomplishments I feel like is similar to one of yours, and that's essentially both quitting something, but like you dropped out of college.
Yeah.
But that was like a huge thing for you. You know,
scary,
like that's instantly when you're like, okay, I'm committing to what I want to do. Like I'm committing to pursuing this. And like that's when I had to quit my job. So we both had to like quit one road so that we could go down the other one, you know?
And I don't want to glamorize quitting and trying to do your own thing.
Yeah.
I think you have to be practical, you know, because I get so many emails from kids saying, look, I'm a junior in high school. Should I drop out and try to be a pro? And I'm like, okay, well, for some juniors in high school, yeah, it is the right time.
You're messy.
If you do have really good, if you have German teams or your European teams knocking on your door, and you have, you know, scoring millions of goals in these club seasons for development academy teams, and you have European teams knocking on your door wanting you to bring you in for trials, then yeah, drop out, go for it. But if you're just, you know, and playing in high school and you don't have any connections, you're like, should I drop out and buy a one-way ticket to Europe and try to knock on doors? No, be practical.
Yeah, no, it has to be all about timing and like being prepared and just like knowing that
the same exact thing with you. It's like, if you had nothing else, you didn't have your Instagram, YouTube, or building your Mimi Estelle brand, website, anything, and you're like, I want to quit and just follow you around the world, I would be like, Mimi, no, screw off. Work.
Go away, baby.
Because like I didn't want you to just throw away your life to just follow me, but you're not. You're literally following what your passion is, and that's why, like, even going back to the beginning of this podcast, I was like 100% do it, because I know that you're following something and working towards something. So it's be practical with everything, but you know, but work towards it. If you're that high school kid, junior, who doesn't have any connections, you don't have European clubs knocking on your door, work to build up to that and then have backup plans. But then once you do, and you can see that now, you know, is the right time for yourself. Like for me in college, I had 4 successful seasons in college, scoring goals every single season, 15 career goals as a forward. I'd played and succeeded, had top goal scorer for the San Jose Earthquakes U23 team. I played another PDL team, was successful there. I knew that was the right time for me. I had USL teams emailing me to come into preseasons. I had scouts hitting me up. I had 2 agents calling me.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's the
right time for me to drop out. Same with Germany. I had a German guy who Marcus played over in Germany, was from Germany. He wanted to bring me over and bring me 2 teams to give me trials. That was the right time for me. I was practical with everything, and that's why it worked out for me.
Yeah.
So
it's not where the opportunities are. You got to go where they are.
Follow that, but be practical. Have dreams and goals, but be practical about it. Because a dream and a goal without a practical approach and a plan to get there is just a dream. You want to make it a goal. Boom, we're going to end on that right there.
Ooh, that was a good one.
That was a good one. I was in my motivational mode today.
I feel really motivated now.
Yeah. I just want, some days, I get that sometimes. Like I'll make a YouTube video and it's very motivational. I'm into it, the zone. And then people are like, wow, you were feeling yourself today, huh? I'm like, I was.
He was.
And especially like, I got caffeine going to me. I got workouts.
Yeah,
I already did workouts,
all those podcasts
yoga.
you're listening to.
Yeah. And I'm listening to some Gary Vee. Like, exactly. And then I have moods where I'm just completely goofy. You never know what you're going to get with the Against All Odds podcast. So stay on your toes.
You should listen to all of them.
Yeah,
just in
you
case.
probably should listen to them all. And probably maybe even sign up for premium
You need
membership.
to tell a story throughout the entire thing so that they have to follow along. Like episodes.
And last, the end, episode 3, Harry the rabbit was bouncing through the forest.
Yes.
No, all right. Well, that was the podcast. Mimi, thank you for answering my difficult questions for you today.
You're welcome.
You opened up to the podcast.
I did.
So thank you for that.
I feel very vulnerable right now.
Well, thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for listening. If you're listening on Podbean, hopefully, I don't want to jump any guns, but hopefully this is on iTunes.
Or Spotify?
Maybe Spotify, possibly.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyways, this was the Against All Odds podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.